Okay. So just to give you all a little bit of background. So when we first went into the lockdown, then I sort of realized I needed to get out of my comfort zone, and I needed to do presentations just a little bit differently. And Frederick Satter pointed me a while ago to this program, and I thought I'd sort of give it a go. And I've found that it allows me to do some really clever things that I haven't been able to do in the past. And I've been using it probably for the past three or so months and building it up. And if you haven't seen OBS Studio, then what it is it's and I'll show you how we build up these slides or these scenes, but it's a way that you can sort of control what people see. Because what I can do is I can have a number of different sort of formats here where I could show myself and I could show a PowerPoint and step through it, or I could have an insert sort of over here. We can add things in like our name tags into all of the videos that we do. I can also go straight to PowerPoint or move over to, in this case, my virtual machine. And everything that's showing up in this section in the center is what people will see when you go out and present it. So I'm going to show you how you can actually build up these slides and how all of this works. So for those of you that haven't seen this, then you should get a sort of a base level set as to how it works. Now, a lot of Don Lees sent me this, and he just went out and created this video, which you should be able to see. And he created this all through OBS. And what you'll see is he's going through and he's doing his presentation. He's got a good webcam that he worked through. He's doing an introduction, and then he's swapping out and moving over from video to a PowerPoint, and then he's going further through, and I think he moves over to the remote desktop. So all of this he managed himself, and he did this yesterday for some training. So that I thought this was a sort of a good example of showing what an end result could look like for around about a 12-minute demonstration. And for those of you on the F&O side, then he's showing the handheld device over there, and then everything sort of side by side with a background that sort of brands it as well. So this is the end result of what you can start doing if you just sort of start tinkering around with OBS. Now, I'm going to change out of this because I've built up a lot of different sort of scenarios here, which to show, but this is probably a little bit of overkill for you all as you start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get started with OBS, and then also how to go out and sort of start using it and even build up some examples along the way. So before I start, does anyone have any questions about OBS, or have you all been finding that you have to do presentations just a little bit differently now that we're almost completely locked down? Well, not locked down, but we're not traveling anymore.
Yeah, so Carlos from Canada, one of the things that I've recently been asked to do is Simulive, which is record a webinar and then broadcast it on a streaming platform. On24 is the one that our marketing team has used, and be there to answer questions live. So Corp is asking that we pre-record some of these marketing events instead of doing them completely live. So definitely changing the way that I normally work, and my team does too, of course.
Yeah, because I think, and even with the conferences that are coming up, I know that the Dynamics conference from the user group, then they're doing all of theirs as pre-recorded sessions with chats afterwards as well. And then also what you can do, we won't talk about it today, but you can use this to stream to Teams Live. You could also stream to other platforms as well if you want to. But yeah, I think we're starting to change the way we do things and create these recordings. So, and hopefully by the end of today, I'll show you how you can do that as well.
Because of that, I'm finding that the camera and microphone on my devices, even my Jabra Puck here, isn't sufficient. So one of the things I'm asking at some point if we can make some recommendations around hardware, because live events, sure, no problem. I can have a meeting with my camera on board, but for these recordings, I'm finding the sound is a bit poor, and I find that I'm a little more self-conscious because if I'm speaking live, I'm fine. I don't care. But if I'm recording, then I listen to it back and I say, oh, that wasn't so great. And I stuttered there, and I'm going to re-record it, and the sound quality was poor. And so because it's kind of like being kind of etched in stone, I'm a little bit more sensitive to the quality of the streaming. So that's something that I would definitely love to hear more about, is what kind of hardware you guys are using, because I see the quality of your video is excellent. And so what is it that you're using to do that camera?
Yeah, and how, just for my information, how does the audio sound?
It's not bad. There's a little bit of an echo, but it's pretty clear.
Very clear.
Yeah, I think it's clear.
Okay, so just to yes, I'll later on I'll talk about it. But what I'm using for the audio is, if you can see my screen, then I've got this like lavalier mic that I've got, and I've also got let me just put this on. I've also got a bigger microphone, but I've changed over to this, and I think this mic costs like $30 or so. It's not super expensive, but also it means that I don't have things in front of me, so we can talk about that as well. But let's start off, and if you want to get started, then all you need to do is just download OBS Studio. The thing that I like about this is it's free. So all you need to do is just go to obsproject.com and then download, hopefully the Windows version, and just install it and set it up. There's going to be one question that it asks as you go through the setup, and it says, are you going to be recording or streaming? I always select the recording, but it really doesn't matter what you choose. It's just going to do some different things with the setup. So I went through this morning because I thought I might need to record it and then speed it up, but it actually takes around about probably a minute to install. So it's not a big problem to get up and running. And I think, Brad, you said that you installed it this morning. It didn't take that long as well. So
about a minute, that was it.
Yep. So, and what you'll end up with is something that looks like this, and it should look exactly like this. And this is the default sort of setup for OBS, how it starts. And what you've got is you've got a center panel in the middle. This is what you're going to be presenting. And I'll talk about how you can change this as well. Then we've got these sort of toolbars tool areas down here at the bottom. So there's a section, there's a couple of different sections that you'll be working in. So this scenes area, every time you want to sort of show something or show something differently, then that's a scene. So sort of if we think of a movie. So for me, I'll show you how to create a scene for a PowerPoint, for a remote desktop, a phone, and video, and then how we can mash those up. Then each scene will have a number of sources, and I'll show you how we create these, but a source is something that you're going to be displaying. So this could be a browser page, it could be a window that you're capturing, it could be video, it could be text, and a whole slew of different things. So a scene is just made up of a number of sources. Now, and there's a section here for transitions. And a transition, you can, sort of like in PowerPoint, you can have as many different transitions as you want. So you could fade in, fade out, you could swipe. I can show you maybe some other things where you can move things around as well. Now there's going to be a section over here for audio. So this is where it's going to show all of the audio that you're going to be recording. And then there's a section over here for the controls, which allows you to start recording, go into the settings, exit from here, or also switch to studio mode. So if I click on this, this is going to change the way the program looks. And then we'll see this in action, but you can have a sort of like a preview of what you're going to show, and then what is being shown, and you can transition between the two. So you sort of switch between them. But I don't use that, personally don't use that a lot. So, but we can look at this. So,
Hey, Murray.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone else just downloaded the out of the box, but I don't have the audio mixer box or that on below it. I have the others, but I don't have that one.
Okay, so if you don't have it, so then if you go up to the view and go to docs, then there's an audio mixer. That should be unchecked.
Yeah, it was actually, it's checked.
Oh, what's it? So is it sort of hidden away somewhere?
Well, yeah, I think that's what happened. I had to enlarge it. It was a smaller window. I got it. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if, say, for example, you want to go out and sort of start creating a way that we can go out and present things, then what we're going to do is we're going to go and create a new scene. So this is like a blank canvas right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I want to go out and add something to this scene. So what I'm going to do is I'll start off by adding my video so that I can switch between video and PowerPoint and remote desktop and so forth. So what you do is you go down to the scenes and you click on the plus button, and then here are all the different scenes, sources that you can have. And I'm going to add a video capture device. And I'm going to call this my Minicam. And what this is going to do is it's going to open up a property here, and then we can find all of the different video sources that we have that we can add to the view. So I chose Minicam, but I could choose my live cam from my Surface Studio, and then it's going to add this in. And now what I've got is I've got a scene that just has my video inside of it. So, but the whole idea of what we want to do here is to be able to switch things up and move things around. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to rename this. So now what I want to do is maybe I want to switch over to an application. So what I'm doing now is I'm saying I want to create a new scene. And this scene, again, it's going to start off as blank. But then I'm going to say I want to add a window capture. And this is going to be my remote desktop. So the window capture allows you to capture any application that's up and running. The program has to be up and running for it to show up here. But if I look on my desktop, then I'll just move this over. I've got a remote desktop to my demo sort of environment. So I've just got that running over here, and I can go down and I can find that remote desktop that I have, and I can find that program. Now, the thing about when we capture the windows don't have to be in front or active or anything, as long as they're running in the background, because you saw here that I had, I could share my Teams, I could share a PowerPoint that I'm running, or I could, again, just show anything that I want. But I'm going to go back to this view. Now,
but you're accessing it via RDP to get into.
For me, I've got a virtual machine that I run on Azure that I use for all of my demonstrations. I don't show it off my Surface because I don't know what machine I may be using. So I remote desktop to this virtual machine. You could do the same by just going out and adding in an Explorer window or an Edge window, and then share it that way as well. So, but this is just how I sort of do my demonstrations. Now, there's a couple of options here. Sometimes this doesn't show up, depending on what application you're using. And so if you change the capture method, then sometimes that changes things. The other thing is that there's a Windows match priority. And what that means is that it can just, it will have to match the entire title of what you're looking at, which is remote desktop, or sort of find something that's close, or find an application that's close. So when, if you are opening up different applications like Word or PowerPoints or things like that, then you may find that it doesn't find it, then you have to match it sort of separately. But that's sort of just by the wayside. Also here, we can go out and we can say, I want to capture the cursor. So if you don't turn this on, then you won't be able to see the cursor, but you'll be able to see all the activity that's going on in there. So that's that. Now, say, for example, if I wanted to show a PowerPoint, then I could add a PowerPoint here. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing that I did before. I'm going to say I'm going to add a Windows Capture and then PowerPoint. And then I'm going to choose the PowerPoint. Now, if you should be able to see here that I've got a PowerPoint application, but then I've got the slideshow. If I choose the application, then I'll see my PowerPoint like this. If it's in slideshow mode, then here, try this again. Okay, then this will capture whatever I'm showing in slideshow mode. Now, the final thing that I can do is, say, for example, I want to show my phone. And this is one of the sort of areas which makes this a lot better, because what I can do is in this case, I'm just going to use this Connect app, which is over here.
I wonder if it works with 8 Power.
But I locked myself out. And there are a lot of sort of other options that you can have in order to do this. So there's different emulation tools that you can use. I'm just going to grab this. Move this over here. So I've just gone out and I'm showing what's on my phone. But now I'm going to create a scene for the phone. And then I'm going to capture that window and pull in the phone. So now what I've got is, if I want to, if I'm doing a presentation, then I can just go out and say, I want to show video. I want to show my remote desktop. I want to go to PowerPoint, or I can switch to my phone here through this view. So this is a sort of really the starting point on how we build things out. Now, the other things that we can do with these scenes is, notice I've got my connect bar along the top, and I don't really want to have that. So what we can do inside of these scenes is we can move these around. So we can change the size, and we can move them. But also what we can do is we can crop these. So for this phone, I want to get rid of this bar. So if you hold down the Alt key, then that allows you to crop. So notice that just sort of compressed it down. And then what I can do is I can make this bigger and center it back on the page. So we can start manipulating these views. And I had a question this morning about if you're doing presentations and there's sort of like watermarks or things on the bottom that you don't want to see, then you can just crop the view and change it. So now I've got sort of like a clean view here. Now, so there's one other item that you can do, which starts sort of moving us into the next level of how we can do presentations. Because say, for example, I want to show two of these things at the same time. Then what I can do is I'm going to go out and create a scene. And I'm going to make this video plus PowerPoint. So now that I've got a new scene here, and now I'm going to do something which one of the first things I learned, which is I'm going to add an existing scene to the scene. So we can layer these on top of each other. So now what I can do is I can say, I want to add my video in. And then here's my video. So I'm just going to have this running and then just make it a little bit smaller and move it over to here for now. Then what I can do is I can add a new scene for the PowerPoint. And I'm going to make that a little bit smaller as well. So now I've got them sort of running side by side. If I want to, I can go out and crop this down and push it over here. And now I can have my video and my PowerPoint side by side. I'll make this just a little bit bigger. So notice now that we can start merging things together, and we can create sort of like these composite scenes as we're going through. And another thing that I can do, I'm going to have my phone plus my desktop. And then I'm going to add in my phone. And before I do that, I'm just going to crop this in. And then make this just a little bit smaller. And then I can add in my remote desktop or my application that I'm showing. And then I'm going to pull this down and just resize it. And now what I can do is I can actually show both applications running at the same time. Now I use this because if I'm going into my remote desktop, then if I'm trying to show something now like remote assist, then I can launch a call here from my phone and then show it over here inside of Teams and show the full experience of the application sort of side by side with two different personas working together. So this is sort of the starting point on how you can go out and build up scenes. And now from a presentation, what I can do is I can say, I could start from a video. I could move over to a video and PowerPoint. Then if I want to go full screen, I could go to the PowerPoint. I can go through and talk to some of the scenarios. And then I can have my remote desktop showing up here and then start showing my demonstration. So in probably around about 5 minutes, I've created a set of basic scenes that allow me to go out and present in a little bit of a different way. So let me just stop and see if anyone has any questions about what I've done here, because this is just really quickly going out and building.
This is great stuff. The only question I have is if we're using our instance on a laptop and we're trying to get to F&O, you went through a VM. Can we access it through our LCS or none of that stuff?
Yeah. So say for example, I'll find out where that goes. For example, if I want to show dynamics, then I'm just attaching to this through the browser. And it's going to, I can log in. So I could go into CRM, I could go into Business Center,
right.
I can go to whatever I want. Now, with OBS, the one thing is it's hard to do this on one screen. You really do need an external, at least a secondary monitor, so that you can see both the OBS and your application. But say, for example, if I move this, I'm moving this off and putting it over onto my side window. So now what I can do is I'm going to create a scene and call this browser. And then here I can go in and I'm going to capture that window. Add in the browser, and notice it automatically found it to start off with.
Yeah.
So now I've got that, and if I go over to here, and you can see that anything that I do on that browser on that side window is going to. That's
great.
It's just going to work by itself.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Maria, just a quick question on the. So when you actually go to present, you're presenting essentially putting like OBS over on the your whatever your stage is or wherever you're going to present from, and then you're running the applications on your other screen.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is the next.
Can I ask a question about that? Are you not just producing at the end of the day a video that like after you do all this editing and you create all these scenes, do you not just produce like an MP4 video file and then that's what you play? Or are you actually using this application when you present in order to run the media? So yes, so that's a good question, because that's sort of the next thing that I wanted to show, because what we can do three things with this. So we can make a recording, which is really the easiest thing to do. But what I want to do is I want to not do what we normally do, which is say, I'm going to switch over to PowerPoint and then I have that up, and then maybe I push it over to the side and I pull over the Teams window and show that and then move it. I want to make that a lot more seamless when I'm doing a Teams presentation.
Right.
So this is So this is the trick, because we want to show whatever is here inside of Teams when I'm doing a presentation. So to do that, what you do is there's a option here. So what I did is I just selected here on the area which I'm, whatever I'm presenting. So whatever scene I'm on is going to show up here. And then there's a option here for a full screen preview or projection. So what this, and I'll do this with a window to start off with. So if I have this, this window that's showing me what I'm looking at, if I swap over to a new scene, then this window projection changes. So this is what I want the customers to see when I'm doing a presentation. So what you do is you say, I want to do a full screen projector. And then it says what window, what monitor do you want to put it on? I've got 3 monitors. I've got my main one and then one on each side. Now, so if I do this, then when I project it, then, and I'll show you this another way in a second.
This is great.
Cool. Yeah, so so what you'll see is I'm going to show you the screen. So this is my screen, and if I can change now to these different vignettes, and notice that you're not seeing any of the other. You're not seeing all of the mechanics behind this.
That is cool.
Now this is the screen, but
so it's like PowerPoint presentation mode, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I can't show it because I can't show it on Teams. But when you go out and do a presentation, then there'll be an option that you can go and, so you go into Teams and you say, I want to share content. But instead of doing what we normally do, which is go out and share a screen, what you want to do is you want to share that projection application. So when you go in there, here, let me do this. Okay, so I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and then I'm going to share my desktop again. And see if I can find it. Okay. Then when you go out and share it, then share the application. So this is what the customers are going to see when I go out and do my presentations. So now inside of Teams, what you all should be able to be seeing is Dynamics 365. And if I want to talk to them on video, then I can switch over to video. And again, I could go to video in PowerPoint. I could show my phone. And the transition is a lot more cleaner than going out and doing Alt-Tab and swapping between them. Also, if something pops up, if a notification pops up, then the customers won't see it. Also, if I'm doing an Alt-Tab to move to a different screen or trying to sort of wrangle all this information, then the customers don't see that as well. All they see is this one window that I'm projecting.
So Murray, when you go from scene to scene, and I hope the answer is yes, does it then bring to the front the application in your other monitor that is going to be presented on that screen, or do we still have to alt tab to that, right? So like your mobile dynamics, let's say an Excel spreadsheet and a PowerPoint presentation and my video, does the scene bring those to the front or not?
No, the scene doesn't bring it to the front.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, sometimes you don't need to, because I've got my phone, and I actually don't need to see that anywhere, because it's
you're managing it on your phone. Yeah.
And also something else is that when you go in on the second window that I have where this is projecting, I don't have to see that either. It can be behind, it can be the lowest window on the screen, covered by other windows, because I'm not sharing the screen, I'm sharing the application. So that gives us a lot more capability. So, but the struggle is that, say for example, if I'm here on my remote desktop, then to interact with this, I do need to have it up, and I do need to have it available to see, or at least have the mouse on top. So this is where you need to go out and just get a little bit more. It takes just a little bit of practice, and also you need to be things that I have to be sensitive is where my mouse is actually, because right now I'm seeing my mouse on all three screens because I'm projecting on one, I've got the virtual machine on the other, and then I'm seeing OBS in the center. But the benefit of this is, let me just come over, is say if I'm doing a presentation, but I've got my PowerPoint, and then I'm trying to be a little bit more personal with video, then I can be looking directly at OBS and seeing what I'm presenting, and then look up at the camera, which is up here, and then my eyes aren't down like they normally are. So let's get off that.
Right. So you have a screen. You have a 3-screen setup with the OBS screen in the presentation screen in the middle.
That's correct.
Okay. This is awesome.
So let me just go back to my agenda.
So Murray, this is a live event. Is that how you're streaming it from OBS to Teams?
No. So this is all I'm doing is let me go back. And let me share my screen. So what I'm doing is the trick, or the thing that you need to do, is this full screen preview. This is if you take anything away from here, this full screen preview is going out, and it's actually streaming to another window on my desktops, and then I'm just sharing that.
Oh, okay.
So now on a side note, if you are doing Teams live events, then you can go out and stream to a whole slew of different streaming services. But this is sort of, I haven't really got into this a lot or much. I've worked out how to do it, but it's all I'm doing is I'm just I'm doing exactly the analogy that someone brought up just before was that it's like in PowerPoint preview mode, and then I'm sharing. If I was in Teams, I'd share the preview, and that's what I'm doing here with OBS. Whatever is on here is going to that preview screen, and I'm going to see it. It becomes, I showed you earlier on the studio mode. So another thing is that this is what I am showing right now, and this is what I'm going to show. And I could go out and say, I want to do a fade and transition. And then this is what the people are going to see. And this is sort of my queued up area that then I could pull in the browser and transition between them.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's very cool.
So it's how.
It's interesting because you're kind of like, these are the editing controls if you were to make a baked video, but you're using them to actually control the presentation real time.
That's right. Now, say for example, so the next thing is, say we were going to create a recording. Then we don't have to worry about this sharing anymore. All we have to worry about is what we're showing over here. So now, say for example, if we wanted to go out and create a recording, then what I can do is I can go out and start the recording. But before I do that, there's one other thing that we need, because PowerPoint doesn't have any audio. So we need to go out and add some audio into this. So I'm going to add in an audio option. And then I'm going to capture some audio input. And now what it's going to say is what microphone are we going to be using? So depending on what headsets you've got and what microphones you've got, then you'll just have to find the right one that you're using. So I've got this external mic. And that's not showing. Let me try this. Maybe I've got the wrong audio mixer. So this scene, I might show this in my in another view because it's sort of not cooperating. But you need to, as you're doing recording, you need to capture this audio. Now, so say for example, I want to go out and do a recording. So what I can do is I can just say start recording. And it's not like Camtasia. Camtasia gives you sort of a countdown on how you want to, when it's going to start. But it's going out and just recording. So now if I want to go out and show things here, talk over, edit out the dog barking, and then show something else here, and then move back to my remote desktop and all of these things. Then after I've done that, all I have to do is stop the recording, and then you go up to the file menu and go show recordings. And then, yep, this should be it here. So if I just double click on that, then this is now my recording. So this is again what I'm seeing in the background as it moves through. And in a second, notice now it's just recording whatever I've got inside of the scene and then swapping over to the other views. And in the background, it actually grabbed audio as well.
Does it let you separate out the audio track and then like break up the audio and some like video editing software so you can?
Yes, so for that, so we can go out and we can, this is really just a raw movie file. So what I do is I can go out and I can use the inbuilt video editor in Windows, and that will allow me to swap it around. Or what I can do is if you have something like Camtasia or some other tool that you can use for video editing, the one that you like, then you can go and change them all there as well.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going. Was we use Camtasia now, but this has a lot more functionality to be able to create, you know, the side-by-sides and the multiple screens and the canvas and so forth. So it seems like we'd be using like a blend of this software and Camtasia for when we want to do more production work or post-production work on the video and the audio. But this allows us to do a lot more with what's on the screen capture of the recording side.
Yeah. So Camtasia has got a lot of these features as well. And I've seen videos where you can use Camtasia and you can you can overlay the audio tracks, you can slice it and dice it, you can do all of these things. But and you can add like lower thirds to your name for identification. And so when I've been going out and creating or spending a little bit more time on the videos, then you're right. It's really a blend. This is the pre-production. We can go and we can change things a lot, and also have the multiple sources in there. And then after that, then we can do even more with like Camtasia and so forth.
Hey Murray, it's Dave Clark. I just had a question for you. I saw that it produced it as a .dot movie. Do you know if you could produce it as a .dot MP4 and if that even matters?
Let's have a look.
Yeah, you can. You can save as MP4.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So just here in the settings, we can go and change that.
So I'm also really interested in how you show your video, like your face, with like, let's say your name tag below you or your title, and then you have like, let's say a web browser next to it. So you're showing your camera here. How did you build that scene? What is it? How are you showing your camera? And let's say doing that both in a recorded or doing it in a Teams meeting where you're streaming.
Yeah. So there's one. So the thing that you can do here with that's a little bit more is if I'm showing a video here, then what I can do is I can add in an image. So, and what that image can be, it can be anything you want. Now, just find this.
And you probably just constructed your title in like PowerPoint and saved it as an image or something?
Yep, PowerPoint's the best thing. So here's my name tag. And now it's added it here to the view. So now I can go out and I can just plonk that down here. So now whenever I show the video, it's going to be showing the lower thirds. And if I don't, something else, if I don't want to always show my name, then I can duplicate this and then get rid of that name tag. So now I can swap between the two like that.
Very cool.
Now, yeah. Now there's one other thing. So let me get off my face there. Now there's one other thing which inside of so this is all presenting, but say for example, if I'm in Teams and I want to put my name tag down here on my video, then OBS has another feature which is called a virtual camera. And what that does is that will create a camera source that Teams can use for the video. So let me see if I can go here. So if I go into my device settings, which you should be able to see, then I can go out and say, I want to use my OBS camera. So whatever I'm projecting on the screen will show up in this camera. Now, when I first saw OBS, I thought this was how you'd go out and do PowerPoint presentations. Oh, not how you'd present applications, but when you go in to try to share a presentation, then it's always going to be this thumbnail. So the only time you use the virtual camera is so that you can use the manipulation here for your image and put things in front of it or change your background. Because I don't believe. So
you're not using an application to show your video. You're literally just tapping into your device's camera.
This, normally I would, but I'm going out and I'm cheating, and I'm using this program called Minicam. And so what this does, this takes my video and then brings it in, and then I can have all these scenes. But if you want to see that I've got a green background here, but then I can change these through the Minicam, and then I'm using this video feed as the feed for what I'm showing inside of Teams. Now,
and then you're just cropping your little screen there.
Yeah, so I can go out and I can zoom that or change it around, or I can go into the camera. Something else I can do is if I'm here in the video and you right mouse click and say go properties, then this will open up the camera view, and there's an option here to configure the video. And depending on the video, the input that you have, then you can go and change the brightness and all of the other sort of camera features.
Wow. Is Minicam free?
What was that?
Is Minicam a free software?
No, it's freemium. So you can have the free version, but it says Minicam up here. But I went out and I paid for this and got a lifetime subscription for it. I think it cost like $70. Now the main reason why I did that is because if Teams is using your camera, then nothing else can access that camera. So I can't use it inside of OBS. But if I use Minicam, then Teams can use this camera, and then also I can use this camera here. So for me, I think it was worth the headache for going out and sort of switching between them. So it does cost some money.
Wouldn't the camera app in Windows do the same thing? Because you can open up a window with the camera app and you can get video on that.
You can, but the other thing is that, and maybe it's just me being a little bit vain, but the adding backgrounds works a lot better here in Minicam than it does in Teams.
What about the OBS camera add-in for Teams? Does that help here?
So going out and using the virtual camera?
Yeah, am I not thinking about that the right way?
So if I turn on the virtual camera, then, okay, I'll show you. So what I've done is I've turned on the virtual camera. Now, if I go over to Teams and change my camera to the OBS camera, then now you all should see this image down inside of my image down here. And I'm probably showing up as a thumbnail, maybe. But if, for example, I'm doing a presentation and I change over to remote desktop, then notice my image changes to remote desktop.
Nice.
So, and it's so small that it's really not usable. So the only time you use that virtual camera is if you're going out and sort of wanting to do this. The other funny thing is, if I'm looking at it over here, then my name tag is back to front. But I think when you're seeing it, it should be round the right way, I think. Or maybe it's flipped, I'm not quite sure. So it sort of does some squirrely things.
Yeah, we said, okay.
So those are just some other things that I've found along the way. Now, so we're at the top of the hour. I'm just going to show you so this is I changed these around a little bit, and you can change the docking position of all of these. And I'll show just one last thing, which is there's these docking tabs that are showing up here, or maybe two things. Then if you there's an option here in the docs to go out and add a browser as a dock. Now, what that allows me to do is I'm just browsing to OneNote. And I'm going to push this up here. So this is if I'm recording, then this is my script. And now what I can do is I'm going to, here's my script that I'm doing for the presentation. And I can go down, I can make this bigger if I want to. And now if I'm reading, then I can read from the script sort of like a teleprompter. But I put it up here at the top of the form because if I'm reading at the top, then I'm almost looking at the camera, as opposed to having a script down the bottom or on a piece of paper where when I'm reading, I'm looking down. I'm not making that eye contact. So that's one thing that you can do. And then also, if you want to make things look a little bit if you want to add some styling to this, then here I've got my video and my PowerPoint running in the background. But what I can do is I can have a backdrop like this. And now when I go back to my video and PowerPoint, then I'm getting branding on my recording or my presentation directly here within the view. And so all this is putting a picture, a background picture behind everything that I built up just before, so that it looks a little bit more interesting. You can also go out and add, if I look at my video. So because I've got a green screen, I can filter out all of the anything that's not me. So there's a lot of sort of things that you can do when you start tinkering with this to be a little bit more elaborate. And if I want to, I can go out and I can say that I'm in the office and there's people. This you can't do in Teams either. You can't have an animated background that's being blurred out, that's being displayed along with video.
Yeah, Teams shows you as green. Bottom.
Does it?
Yep, interesting.
Yeah, Teams will show me as green, but if I'm presenting, then it'll show me like this. But I could, if I go out, I can have a blackboard behind me. And this part is doing it through the Minicam that I'm running. But if I do just have a blank background in the back of me, then I can add some animations here if I want to. So that, let me go back to here. So that's a whirlwind sort of introduction to, stop this, to OBS. And hopefully that sort of gives you a starting point to see how you can build up these scenes and how you use it and how you use it for transitions. But then also how you then sort of can organize things so that they look a little bit better in presentations. And the especially useful thing for me has been the ability to show my phone alongside different applications rather than sort of going like this and say, here's my phone and I'm doing things on it. So that's just another side point. So I'll take a breath and I'll see if anyone has any questions about this and sort of starting off with the OBS.
That's a great intro, Murray. Appreciate it. That really helps get started.
And you have the recording available, right? Because
Yeah,
I'm back on after being off for half an hour. Sorry, fine.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of practice. If you do this, it's a new tool, and it's going to you're going to play around with things and find out what your style is. But I think it's worth the investment, especially now that we're again not doing in-person presentations for now.
Hi, Murray. This is Godwin from Brussels. I have a question for you. How do you connect your mobile phone to OBS? What do you use to get image or content from your mobile phone to be displayed in the OBS?
Yeah. So for that, let me share my screen. So there's a couple of different options. For me, what I did is my first one is there's this Connect app that everyone should have on Windows. So if you click on that, and I've got it over here, then on your phone, what you do is you just go down and you do a screencast. So the icon down here on the bottom line, the third one across, what that does, and because if I disconnect it, then you won't be able to see it. What it does is it says, it finds if you're running the Connect app, it will find your PC, and you can do a project like you do from your laptop to a projector. Also, the good thing is that I can use this for the HoloLens, and also if I have another PC that I want to project, then I can use this as sort of like a source. So this is the first way. But also, if I go to my phone, so there's another app called Your Phone, which I think is part of Windows as well, or you download it. So for that one, you actually do the same thing. I go out and I go to my phone screen, and right now it's connecting over to my phone, and whatever I'm showing on my phone is going to show up here. Now this app is this one's a little bit different because I can do cut and paste. Now there's also other phone apps that you can use, some that you have to pay for. I just like these because they're free.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. And who was asking right at the beginning about the audio setup and the camera?
gentleman from Canada, I think, asked which camera to use and which.
Yeah. So I'm using my my camera, which is on my Surface, and but I've got a Surface Studio, so it gives me a pretty good picture. Now, one thing I did do is, and again, maybe I'm a little bit vain, but I went out and got one of those lights.
Circle lights.
Yeah. So not for putting on makeup, but anyway. And I don't mind if people make fun of me. So because if I look, then here's my setup. So I've got a monitor over here, my main Surface, and then my other monitor over here. And then I've got the light. Now, other people have been using different lights, but I like, if I don't have the light, then I sort of look, I look too red, and it sort of brightens me up a little bit. So that's one thing that I think lighting is really important. But you can sort of jimmy the lights a number of different ways. So, was I even showing that to you all?
No, it wasn't showing.
All right, let me do that again. Here, so let me do that once more. So I've got my Surface here, I've got the light straight in front of me, and then I've got a monitor over here, and then a monitor over here. And then also behind me, I've got this sort of $20 or $30 green screen that I hooked up, so that I can use the backgrounds. So that's all I have. I've also got I've had this microphone for a while, and it's just a Yeti Blue or a Blue Yeti, and it actually gives really good sound, except if I have it in front of me, then it just obstructs my view a little bit. So I've gone and started to use like the lapel microphone, which I think you can see here. And I use that because I don't like using a headset, because it makes my head look even fatter as I do it. So that's sort of what my setup is. And so that's just as a little bit of an overview of how my sort of configurations are.
That was great. Thank you, Murray, very much.
Oh, you're welcome. So, yeah, so I don't want to hold you all up too much longer. I could keep on talking, but I think maybe we'll just, if no one else has any questions, we can close down, and hopefully this was useful to you all.
That's great.
Yeah, this was great, Murray. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Please going.
Really useful. Get us started. Thank you.
So,
Thanks,
okay.
Murray.
Bye.
Thank you, Murray.
Cool. So
thanks, Murray. That was really useful.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Happy new tools.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.